everywhere I go, everywhere I see his face wherever I go. You guys are making me very uncomfortable. I don't understand why he's everywhere. You cannot evade him. I can't go anywhere on the internet. I can't go on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok without seeing his face wherever I go. But that is beyond the point, and I want to really get into that and stress that point by the time we get to the end of this video or near the end of it. But I really want to talk about this manga specifically and just the story behind it, I guess, or the story of this manga, and then we'll get into it and we'll have a whole big ass conversation, right? You know what? No, we're getting straight into the bullshit before we actually talk about this manga itself. Straight into it. You people, yes, you've done too much on TikTok and fucking everywhere else. I've seen everywhere I can even fathom going. It's like, oh, on TikTok is like, oh, the greatest swordsman. It'll show like Zoro. It'll show like some other bullshit, Ronin Kenshin, and then it just shows this guy on the fucking screen every 2 seconds. Who's the best girl in anime? Oh, is it Orihime? Or is it Rukia? Or oh, is it fucking Goku? Oh no, it's this guy right here. They have memed it so much to the point, and I hope this is real, because if this isn't real, then it will make me look a little stupid. So much to the point where the author had a whole interview, which you can see on the screen right now. He had a whole interview, and he said he laughed about one of the letters he had received, because before the manga even released, he got a letter saying from someone it changed his whole life. What the fuck are you talking about? What? How does it change your life? What is going on? Then look at this one. This motherfucker's trying to make a fucking fan-made anime out of this one. Like, what is, how would you, it's not even enough pages. You just like make it up on the fly? And then look at this one. Look at it. Look at this edit. Look at this insane edit he's putting on. The fishy fish is moving and all this other fucking nonsense. This is actually a really good edit. I wish I could edit this good. But anywho, that's crazy. At least he's having fun with it. Because I was gonna say, this was me, and I saw, oh wow, everyone's talking about my manga. Oh my god. Hey yo, why they memeing it? Like they're just making jokes. What the fuck is going on? And to be honest, the sad part is realistically is like this could also affect the manga to like a certain degree or a certain point of like, hey, everyone's enjoying it, or quote unquote he thinks everyone is enjoying it, or the studio thinks everyone's enjoying it, and then come around the next few chapters like no one's reading it, and then it just instantly dies, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, what was the point of all of this in the first place? The last thing I guess I will say before we get into the actual manga itself is like the way I remember it going. Basically, I think it started on Twitter, I believe, and on Twitter they had like, oh, they said this is gonna be like the best manga ever, or someone said, oh, it's gonna be pretty good, and some other people said, oh, it's gonna be really bad, and they hated it already before it even released. After that, it just entered the vacuums of space and went fucking from Mars to Jupiter to Saturn to fucking a new goddamn dimension with Superman or some shit. Like, I don't know how this happened, but it just fucking went like a wildfire. It went crazy. Let's finally talk about obviously the manga itself, and I'll give my thoughts and expressions of how I feel about it at the end of everything. But the story starts off with Rukahara, which is the father, and Chihiro, which is the son. Might just Spirit Away a little bit, I'll see Chihiro. But yeah, it starts off with both of them. The father, Rukahara, is actually a blacksmith, and he's actually teaching his son Chihiro how to be a blacksmith as well. They do have this cute little thing that happens with Rukahara and Chihiro when it comes to his dad and how he loves the fish and how he sort of talks to him, like showing a little bit of his personality a little bit in the manga and sort of how he is as a person and how, I guess, funny as he is. But one day, one of Rukahara's old friends named Shiba comes in. He was basically a pal of his when they were in this quote-unquote war, and he basically was like blessed with giving people swords and all this other stuff so they can fight in this big ass war, whatever had happened. And sort of goes into like a little small detail about what happens or what is the war, the case may be. But you can definitely tell, like, it's almost borderline made obvious, especially with the terms of Rukahara. It's definitely had an effect on him. I don't know if he's had PTSD or he has definitely ill feelings or ill will when it comes definitely to this war, because he even goes to tell his son about how we gave people these swords, and if you give someone a sword, you're basically sort of taking the other person's life as well, because you're the one that crafted the sword, you're the one that gave that person the sword, and it sort of is your responsibility at the same time. And how much sort of like a big responsibility it is to like craft this sword and give this to someone and make it for somebody, you know what I mean? And so after that, he asks like, are you determined? Do you want to do this? He's like, yes. And then just flash forwards like 2 years later, and come to find out that one, his father is dead, and two, he has like one of his father's greatest swords, and he looks a little bit more grown, and he's sort of fighting these mafia people. He's actually aware there's a specific guy who was the head of the social organization Now, okay, so that's the end of just chapter one early cases, right? So I actually did enjoy myself. It was like some of the things I did find some interesting. It's again, obviously some of it is a little obviously basic early cases, like oh, it's just a sort of revenge story. It does have this the twist that I do like and I do find interesting, which is hey, it has some magic in it, and I do want to see that system and how it is portrayed in this manga, and how it could be twisted and wane, and it could be possibly even different than other mangas, or whatever the case may be. And then you also have Shiba, who sort of joins him in his 2-year time skip. I want to see what his deal is. Maybe he's involved, and maybe his father's death for other cases. That's me theorizing or headcanon. I have no idea. But it looks pretty interesting. And then also I do want to know what happens, like sort of to the father, or what the father's line of thinking is, because again it seems like it weighs heavy on his thoughts on like hey, this whole war situation and him like sort of not wanting to fighting a little bit. Like if I could compare it to anything, I would compare it to like the way he looks or the way he's like feeling about the situation is almost like Vinland Saga, right? How his father like sort of does not want to fight. He does not want to do none of that fucking nonsense. He's like, I've been there, done that. It's a hellish experience. Never again. But realistically, in conclusion, I sort of enjoyed myself a little bit with this. I want to see more, obviously. Like, it's not enough to be like, oh my god, go ahead, yo, super, go watch this, ah. But yeah, I definitely had a little bit of fun reading it early cases, so I'm definitely going to read like another few chapters and see like where this goes and where this is headed. And if I would suggest it, yeah, I guess it's only like one chapter, I'm pretty sure, at this date and time, so fuck it, just go ahead and read the one chapter, see what you think yourself. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and goodbye!